in today's video, we are going over some tips that will help you when playing Football Manager 2022. But before we get into that, if you enjoy Football Manager content, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. We have a lot of Football Manager content coming on the channel, so make sure you have the notifications on too so you don't miss an upload. So tip number 1 is to always read the rules of the league that you are in. I have seen this countless times where people have been caught out by weird rules that appear in some leagues and they get caught out by them, like registration rules, for example. I have loaded up my beta save with Man United, which you can see on the Twitch channel. If you want to click the link in the description, that'll take you there. And if you hit the follow button there, we're close to 1,000 followers over there, so that'd be much appreciated. You can see me play Football Manager live, and we're currently about to win the league, so this is cool. So, rules. To find the rules, go to overview at the top if you're looking at your league, then come down to rules. In here, you will see all the rules for the league that you're in. You'll get to see the money that you receive and what qualifications you get depending on where you finish. You get to see the points, number of teams, a lot of things you'll already know. But if you come down, you scroll down, this section here sometimes trips people up. So we see here in the Premier League, you can have all the transfer and squad registration rules. For the Premier League, it's not that bad, but in other leagues, you can find some weird clauses in there, which we'll have a look at in a second. One thing I've noted in the Premier League is this one down here under transfer and registration rules. Teams can sign no more than 6 foreign under 21 players from abroad in a season. So if you're one of those guys that likes to sign a lot of wonder kids from all over the world and you can get work permits for them, you can only sign 6 of them. You can't sign any more. And there are other rules here, like the work permit rules. You get to find out what it takes to get a work permit. Information about the information about Brexit is here too. But as I said, sometimes there are some quirky rules that you will find. Like if we go to Russia, this is a doozy. Go to rules, overview, and then rules. And we come down to the transfer window and squad registration. You'll see one here that is maximum of 8 foreign players on your team. So if you were to take over a team in Russia and you are going to buy in a lot of Brazilians, Argentinians, Portuguese players, and you only find out about this rule when you come to register your team, you'll be in a bit of bother. So always read the rules. Number 2 is to make use of the next match only option when doing your team selections. I have been playing Football Manager for years and I forget about this all the time. Just before a match, I will go to my tactic and go, well, you know, Haaland and Fernandes, they both need rested, so I'll actually drag Rashford here. We'll play Van de Beek, give him some game time at least, and then I'll go along my merry way. But once the game is finished, those guys are still going to show up there. If, for example, if I come up to this little button here, before you make your changes, if you click this button that says next match only, these changes will only take effect for the next match. And then, once that match is over, those changes revert. It's genius, and it saves a lot of time if you remember to use it. So after I've made these changes for Rashford and Van de Beek, after this game, Haaland and Fernandes would return back to their rightful spots in the starting lineup. It's a great feature and one that I need to remember to use more. Number 3 is to set your scouting preferences. So this is one that I tend to only do for my main saves. For a beta save, where I'm not really caring about finding young players and scouting players properly, I don't really do it. But for the main save, you bet I'll be doing this. So in the scouting tab, over here you have a little cog icon. Click on this cog icon and you're then greeted with a bunch of options. You'll get to choose how many emails you'll get in your inbox during the transfer window and outside the transfer window. And you can set this from a day to a month, whether you want daily emails or just once a month. You get to automatically set the amount of time you offer a player for trial and the amount of time you scout a player. I usually recommend 2 weeks for trialing a player. That's enough to get a pretty good understanding of what that player is like. Then you get to choose how long you scout the player for when you want to scout them. By default, it's 1 week. And you can change this from 1 week up to 3 months, to 3 matches, until full knowledge, or for 4 matches. I prefer having it at full knowledge because I like to know everything about the player before I sign them. And then you also get to choose what happens when the player you're scouting transfers to another club or goes on loan to another club. You can choose to stop scouting those players by clicking these buttons. So this is a handy thing I think is useful to set up for your main saves, and it saves you time in the future. Number 4 also really applies to your main saves, but you want to look after the training units in training. If we go to training and then to units at the top, this shows you which players are in which units. Goalkeepers are obviously in the goalkeeping unit, defensive minded players in the defensive unit, and attacking minded players in the attacking unit. Pretty simple, but it's handy to keep an eye on this to make sure the players, especially the young players that you're bringing through and you're developing, are in the right unit. For example, if we want to take Hannibal and make him a more well-rounded midfielder, we might want to move him to the defensive unit to get him to pay more attention to his defensive attributes. When you are setting your training, you can see which units are getting the primary focus of that training session. So here I've added defending disengaged. You can see the primary focus is going to be on the defensive unit. You can see the tactical familiarity that will affect regarding your tactics, but you can also see the attributes that will be getting worked on here. So this one works on marking, tackling, anticipation, concentration, positioning, and teamwork. And the higher priority will be set for this unit because it's concentrating more on the defensive side. So if you've moved Hannibal over to this unit, he'll be getting more coaching and more training on these attributes, which will help him improve his marking, tackling, concentration, positioning, things that you'd want to improve if you want to make him a more defensive-minded midfielder. The attacking unit is still training, they only get 20% priority, and the attributes that they're training are different. They're working on dribbling, finishing, first touch, long shots, technique, anticipation, off the ball, and vision, which is perfect for the attacking players, but it's something to keep in mind if you want to change specifically what a player is training on, to make sure they're in the right unit. And number 5 is to find out if a player you are looking to sign requires a work permit and what chance they have of getting a work permit. To do this, go to Scouting, and then you can go to the player search, and if you right click on the headings up here, right click, insert column, go down to transfer, and at the bottom there are 2, work permit chance and work permit required. You can add these in, and this will tell you straight away whether you need to worry about getting a work permit for a player and the chance that you'll likely get a permit. If we see here, Mtiti will require a work permit to join Man United, and he will most likely get the permit. However, Antonio Blanco requires a work permit and would probably fail to get it. Yes, you can get this from the scout report, but if you are searching a lot of players, it's quick and easy to find it. And you can also add it into the filters. So if we go to edit search, you can add it here as a condition. Add condition, transfer, work permit chance. So I've added work permit chance and work permit is required. So work permit, yes, and likely going to get it. And that will rule out all the players that will fail the work permit. So if you're looking for players that you don't want to worry about work permits, you can set work permit required to no, and work permit chance is not applicable. Okay that. And these are all the players you can sign that you don't have to worry about work permits. It's quite handy, especially if you're doing anything lower league. Well, there we have it guys, 5 tips that will hopefully help you play Football Manager better. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and cheerio.